I'm Keith Olbermann, and this is The Resistance. Mike Pence and Donald Trump wasted hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars Sunday on a political stunt dressed up as a protest against political stunts. It cost $30,000 an hour to fly the vice president's plane, Air Force Two. It costs untold thousands to accommodate the traveling entourage. It costs thousands more to redirect traffic and to pull cops off important assignments, and for the Secret Service for a stunt. A cheap, transparent, racist, divisive stunt that Trump later boasted was a stunt. But what does it matter to President Moron? It's not his money, it's yours. And spending it, wasting it, losing it, deliberately insulting how hard you worked for it by throwing it away on everything from propaganda to luxuries, that is all this pathetic excuse for a presidential administration has turned out to be good at. Pence's stunt cost you and me nearly $250,000, making it one of the smallest negligent, indefensible wastes of taxpayer money since this crew from a pirate ship took over the government in January. Let's just add this up. Let's just add up what we know they've wasted. In May, Trump signed a spending bill that included $119 million just for Secret Service and to reimburse law enforcement agencies for money they spent protecting him while he is in his own private home, whether the one in New York or the one in Florida, instead of being where we pay him to be, the White House. $119 million from Election Day through the end of last month. CBS reported that the annual March ski vacation for Eric and Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner and their families meant the Secret Service paid at least $330,000 more of our dollars so they could go to Aspen to ski. Last week, USA Today reported the Secret Service spent at least $137,000 just to rent golf carts from Trump golf courses for agents assigned to Trump detail to protect Trump. Golf carts. When Trump went to see a golf tournament in New Jersey, they had to put bulletproof glass in the clubhouse from which he watched. You and I paid $15,600 for that, so he could watch golf. Every time Trump goes near a golf course, the Secret Service also rents luxury portable toilets. They had a deal to pay $3,300 for them. Apparently, the toilets weren't up to standards. A new deal with a new company costs you and me $5,365 for them, for luxury portable golf toilets. The grift continues even after he's dead. The tax, quote, reform, unquote, Trump proposed, it guts the estate tax, the inheritance tax. If Trump isn't lying about how much he's worth, and his 2005 tax returns are any indicator, he just saved himself an estimated $1,100,000,000 in estate taxes, according to the New York Times. And we all know his cabinet has been spending money like people who found bags of cash on the street. The disgraced former health secretary, Tom Price, rung up at least $1 million, quote, on private charters domestically and trips on military aircraft overseas just since May, before his hands were finally pried off the piggy bank. Price apparently thought he would get away with the $1 million scam by offering to pay back $52,000. But the scandal starring the fittingly named Price also featured cameos by this whack job Kellyanne Conway. Instead of flying commercially, she's a White House advisor. It's not like she has a job or something. Conway hitched rides with Price. So far, she has not answered any questions about how much more of your money she wasted. The Interior Secretary, Ryan Zinke, the one trying to enable oil drilling in the national parks, could have flown home one day from Las Vegas for $300. Instead, he rented a private jet for $12,375. Rented it from an oil executive. Zinke was in Vegas to give a motivational speech to the new hockey team there. That hockey team is owned by the chairman of Fidelity National, whose employees and associated PACs donated just under $200,000 to the last two congressional campaigns of Secretary Ryan Zinke. The Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, the one who is anti-public education, she pays for her own plane. However, from February through next September, we have budgeted $11,820,000 of our Education Department money for her protection detail. Betsy DeVos's brother is Eric Prince, the infamous founder of Blackwater USA. He was literally in the hired mercenary business. If any education secretary ever, particularly his own sister, really needed $6 million a year worth of protection, one suspects he could have provided it a little more cheaply to her. Then there's Environmental Protection Agency Chief Scott Pruitt. With our money, he's already bought a $25,000 phone booth. He's reportedly rung up at least $58,000 more in private and military flights on our dime. Even when the Trump pirates actually fly commercial, they still stick it to us. Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin went here, the Wimbledon tennis tournament, on a 10-day taxpayer-funded trip for meetings with his wife, with an official itinerary showing they spent about half the time sightseeing and at fricking Wimbledon. And as if they wanted not just to spend our money, but to rub our noses in the receipts, the private plane scandal is so bad that, incredibly, it touches the Secretary of the Treasury and the Secretary of Transportation. Steve Mnuchin, formerly of Goldman Sachs, asked for a government jet for his honeymoon to Europe, claiming he needed a flying office. His own department's inspector general is already investigating whether he wasted taxpayer money to fly to Fort Knox so he could stand atop a building containing $6 billion worth of gold and watch the last eclipse from there. And the transportation boss, Elaine Chao, Mitch McConnell's wife, no, there's no nepotism there. She has reportedly flown on Cessnas rented from the Federal Aviation Administration 7 times at a cost of about $5,000 an hour instead of going on commercial carriers. Chao's spokesperson actually said, quote, "The Secretary is very sensitive to concerns about appropriate use of taxpayers' funds." Very sensitive. Not sensitive enough to not do it, but very sensitive. Last December, a conservative lobbyist named Bruce Melman tweeted out 2 lists of rich Obama cabinet members and rich Trump cabinet nominees. The 9 Obama officials had a net worth of $497,600,000. The 6 Trump officials, including DeVos, Mnuchin, and Price, had a net worth of $7,693,000,000. That's 15 times more than the Obama people were worth. These are the billionaires spending our money so they don't have to mix with us on planes. "A vote for Hillary is a vote to surrender our government," said Donald Trump 11 days before the election, "to public corruption, graft, and cronyism that threatens the very survival of our constitutional system itself." By that measure, the thievery and greed of Trump's money-grubbing cabinet has already destroyed our constitutional system. Because while some of the waste I've outlined here may be duplicated, this partial tally of your money taken from you by Trump and the Trump family and Price and Conway and Zinke and DeVos and Pruitt and Shulkin and Mnuchin and Chao is $1,232,943,000 of your dollars. Hand it over. Resist, remove, peace. Probably a wrong time to try to sell you something, but the new book comes out next Tuesday. Please buy it. What the hell? You're going to spend your money on the Trump administration?